Dodgers aren't just a team, they're family for the Latino community. When Fernando Valenzuela hit the mound, it was more than baseball, it was pride. That legacy lives on in the fans, the culture, and the community. With $2 trillion in buying power, the Latino impact and influence is undeniable. Not just LA's team, our team.
That the government should see that the American citizens are employed before the aliens.
In the 1930s, under the shadow of the Great Depression, the United States government enacted the Repatriation Act, forcibly deporting over 1 million people of Mexican descent, many of them U.S. citizens. And Los Angeles was ground zero. 2 decades later, history repeated itself in a new form. The tight-knit Latino community, now known as Chavez Ravine, was displaced, promised public housing, but ultimately pushed out to make way for a different kind of development, Dodger Stadium. The arrival of the Dodgers in 1958 brought Major League Baseball to LA, but it also left a scar. For many Latinos, the team's rise came at the cost of their homes and history. Today, that tension lingers. With ongoing ICE raids in Los Angeles, fear and uncertainty still haunt immigrant communities, echoes of past injustices that haven't fully faded. And yet, despite it all, the Latino community has become the beating heart of Dodger Nation. It's a relationship built on pride, pain, and perseverance, a complicated love story still being written.
I wrote a story for LA Public Press about a lot of the Dodgers fans who wanted to either boycott the team or just at the very minimum call them out. They felt that the Dodgers had an obligation to speak out against the ICE raids. There are plenty who wanted them to do something, but the bare minimum across the fan base, the Latino fan base, was a statement would be nice. At least say something.
They came, they with guns drawn and everything. They came, like what else can do? We got surrounded, they closed everything.
Does the Guggenheim Group need to be responsible for the political climate, the social oppression that is occurring around the world? As an organization, as a business entity, no. But as an organization that actually is investing in the deportation and the building of technology to deport folks that are citizens and non-citizens, purely based on a decision by folks that are being hired and deputized by Homeland Security to deport folks, it's based on their racial makeup, their phenotype. Absolutely, they are responsible for addressing this in their organization.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Mexican Heritage Night here at Dodger Stadium, the home of your World Series champion, Los Angeles Dodgers.
The Dodgers intentionally supporting the Latino community is the best thing they can do to future-proof their brand. Latinos show up for the Dodgers, and they're expecting the Dodgers to show up for Latinos.
Well, as everybody knows, the Latinos were pissed off at the Dodgers with the whole Chavez Ravine build and extracting the families that were there.
When I first heard about Chavez Ravine, it was probably about, I want to say maybe 5 years ago. And it did impact me. I did get sad. And I had no idea about the story.
The first time I heard about the Chavez Ravine, and it hurt me see all this with 4 miles away from here, this happened.
I think the Dodger organization was conscious that I think right away they started to do the outreach, and they started to really kind of engage with the community to kind of erase that sort of bad guy image.
Walter O'Malley struck a controversial deal in the 1950s to move his team to Los Angeles. The city cleared residents from Chavez Ravine, then handed the land to O'Malley to build Dodger Stadium, sparking decades of debate over displacement and development.
The history of Chavez Ravine and what it did to a primarily Latino community in that displacement is something that we should never forget. That history is important because it did cause irreparable harm for many of those families. And when you talk about communities that continue to get disenfranchised, that was a very important moment in history that reflected what helped to aid Latinos coming into power and finding their voice.
I would say that the first time I understood what the Dodgers participated in, complete erasure of the three communities that we know of as Chavez Ravine, right? Palo Verde, La Loma, and Bishop, was not through school and not through the Dodgers, but through a mural. Mural artist is Judith Baca, and her goal for this was to show how the Dodgers and this stadium just came down like an alien out of nowhere and displaced families.
The Dodgers' move to Los Angeles came at a cost, when Latino families from Palo Verde, La Loma, and Bishop were displaced. So embracing the Latino community wasn't optional, it was necessary. Fernando Valenzuela became that bridge, giving visibility and joy back to a community that had lost so much.
Fernando gave us a little break from everything. He gave us a little show to show us you could be Latino, you don't have to speak English, but you can still kick ass.
I feel that the Dodger fans started supporting the Dodgers with Fernando because he actually brought us closer together. It made us feel now that we were celebrated.
Fernando Valenzuela is huge still to this day and super important, and all the barriers that he broke, and that's where the pride comes in. And it's like, hey, if he did it, we can do it, you know? And he's from Sonora, and my family's from Sonora, so like.
Listen to this crowd. Most of the folks on their feet now. Valenzuela delivers. Through ball. Got it swinging. Fernando Valenzuela in his first big league start. This is a shutout.
Fernando Valenzuela wasn't just a pitcher, he was a revolution. With every pitch, El Toro carried the hopes of millions of Latinos on his shoulders. For many, he wasn't just a Dodger. He was the first time we saw someone who looked like us, spoke like us, and honored where we came from, standing proud on a global stage. From Dodger Stadium to dusty little league fields across America, Fernando made dreams feel possible. He didn't just dominate the mound, he opened the door. And for the Latino community, that meant everything. Fernando Valenzuela isn't just a baseball legend. He's a symbol of pride, perseverance, and home.
I would say the Dodgers before Fernando were definitely, a high-profile team. They were the team of Jackie Robinson, of Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, but I think there was always that element missing. I know from talking to folks throughout my career, they always remarked on how low the percentage was of Latinos in the fan base before Fernando. I think that all quickly changed once he burst onto the scene.
Well, no surprise here today. A lot of folks have come to see the Mexican phenom Fernando Valenzuela, and why not? He's the hottest topic in baseball.
He never traveled to the U.S. prior to him actually coming specifically for the Dodgers. So that was his first time here. And because at the end of the day, he didn't look like everyone. So he looked different. And that's also a part of why Mexicans, Latinos, they looked up to him because they saw someone that looked like them on TV. I probably didn't realize how big he was. I mean, people would tell me, like in school, teachers be like, oh my God, your dad. They would always talk to me about him.
I think that Fernando Valenzuela is the best. He's the greatest, and I think everybody here has Fernando fever.
I think there was definitely some intentionality on the part of the Dodgers in terms of wanting to find that great Latino superstar in order to try to connect and establish a bond with that community.
The Dodgers are number 1, all right! Woo!
Based on the way it played out, certainly it was a peace offering for the Latino community. And in trying to repair that relationship.
At this point, the Dodgers are embedded in pop culture. It's a fashion statement at this point.
You gotta have at least one Dodger jersey in your closet or LA hat. That's mandatory.
Dodger blue means pride, winners, success.
From East LA to global streets, Dodger blue became more than a team color. It became identity. The Latino community has embraced the Dodgers for generations, weaving that iconic blue into fashion, music, and art. Today, it's a cultural symbol, seen in streetwear, lowriders, and hip-hop, representing pride, legacy, and the heartbeat of Los Angeles.
You know, I think the Dodgers are just so embedded into LA, and you know, that Chicano like style with the, you know, just the simple like khakis or jeans. Right when we're born, I'm pretty sure we're handed a Dodger hat or something, because I think that Dodger hat just kind of became a staple in everybody's attire.
I believe that we're expressing who we are as a people, as a culture, as Dodger fans and artists.
I mean, the Dodger community is huge, bro. It's huge. We're diehard fans. It's just meant to be that way. And that's what really makes Los Angeles, Los Angeles.